First of all, just to get out and see the Legionnaires and the whole American Legion family. And we talk about some of the things that's going on and where we need to focus, and really just visiting the folks. Well, first it would go, we're talking about veteran suicide. That's the national, and my number one objective is to reduce veteran suicide. And by doing that, no veteran left behind. And there's no one better to talk to a veteran other than a veteran. And so we call it Buddy Check. And so that's what, that's really what it's all about.
A lot of veterans every day.
Yes, World War II veterans are losing 300 a day. The Vietnam veterans, I'm not sure. I've heard different numbers of what we're losing a month and stuff like that. But the World War II veterans, we're trying to get something through Congress, which it's already passed the House and Senate. So now we need to get some floor time. Where what we're trying to do is push the issue of waiving the means test for all World War II veterans. We did it in 1996 for Spanish American and World War I. And so now's the time. It's past time, but when I started playing with the numbers, from World War I to 1996 was 77 years. World War II to 2022 is 77 years. So it's definitely time. Like I said, we got about 240,000 or less today, and we're losing them 300 a day. And of course, next year it may be more than 300. So this time next year, we'd be lucky if we got 100 to 120,000. And we need to let that greatest generation know that the United States is very proud, and we want to honor them by giving them that. Well, first of all, there is a hotline for suicide, but if you know a person that's having bad times, or you sense that they're not right, they may be contemplating hurting themselves or committing suicide, just need to talk to them and try to let them talk them into giving you 15 more minutes, 1 more hour, that 1 more day, till we can get them some professional help. Because we're not professionals, but you can talk to a person and kind of bring them back. You can bring them back around.
And encouraging them to reach out to their nearest Legion post or to...
Well, normally the person talking to them will do that. There's a crisis number, 1-800-273-8255, and then press 1. And that's a crisis number. And so that's a number everybody ought to have available. And if you sense it, if you don't feel comfortable about talking about it with that person, there's nothing wrong if you're visiting with someone and just ask them. If you kind of sense something, or you're contemplating hurting yourself, or just bluntly, are you contemplating suicide? Because if they are, they're probably going to tell you. Yeah, we've got some bills. We've got 12 what we call our priorities, a drop sheet or something that you give to your representatives, senators, your U.S. congressmen, and talk to them about it. Just like right now, our young men and women on the 20-year war are really before that toxic exposure to American military, the burn pits. And we don't really know what was all in those burn pits, everything from styrofoam to plastic bottles, so it's a little bit more difficult to identify exactly what will cause what, because we're learning every day. And so there is a couple of bills that we're pushing in Congress and House and Senate. And the biggest thing for it is we want to make sure that we get ahead of this and not be another Agent Orange. And so by doing that, we can really, we want a 3-pronged type approach on it, and mainly is to scientific evidence. If there's scientific evidence, that needs to be a presumptive illness. Therefore, they can get their health care. And benefit, we'll look at that later, but let's get them health care. We've got to get these young men and women health care to, so many out there's got respiratory problems, getting cancer. And it's alarming. whenever that happens. The VA, they can make anything presumptive. The VA can themselves, which, you know, we were doing everything presumptive until the end of the year. And then starting the first year, the VA did step up and have 3 presumptive illnesses for burn pits. And since that time, they've added another 11 or 9 or something. They got about 12 to 14 now. And there's 2 bills, one in Senate that did have 11, and in the House had 22 presumptives. So there's something, I really feel like as soon as you get floor time, because I believe both those bills are out of the House and Senate, and they might be combining one, but I'm not sure. But we get floor time, we will get a bill passed on this toxic exposure. And the benefit of that is then it becomes a law. And so the VA can act. But Congress gives the VA the authority to have presumptive. We want to make sure scientific evidence, then it will be a presumptive illness, and our young men and women can get taken care of. Brothers and sisters, you know, it's not, it's a price you pay to be eligible to join this. And like myself, I love to play golf, but I love what the American Legion does. And that's the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing, is to help our veterans, and anything I can do to help this organization, especially our veterans, I want to step forward and do it. So they need to look at it, because did they use the GI Bill? The American Legion wrote the GI Bill. A lot of people don't know that. The American Legion is one who got Agent Orange off center. A lot of people don't know that. We had a husband and wife professors, doctors, down in Columbia University. And they took the helm, and another guy said, I know where the paperwork is. And so we spent some money, and we got it moving. So the American Legion is there solely for the veterans, the widows, the children. You know, our youth programs, we cover across the board for a better America with our young folks, and these veterans, I like to call them next generation, or this 20-year war even. You know, those men and women, they wonder if it was worth it, because we're out without a win-win. You know, so they think about their brothers and sisters that they either lost or they're mangled for life, and was it worth it going over there? And we need to make sure we tell them it was worth it. Their service was worth it, because while they were over there, they was keeping us safe here. We never had any major terror attacks on U.S. soil during that time. So their service is worth it. And we need them to come on board. They're most of them are very active, very family-oriented, very community-oriented, and they're doers. They want to be involved. And so we've just got to bring them on board and let them know we're there for them. I went through the same thing when I come back to Vietnam, same thing as some of them, because we had World War II veterans, and the gap seemed to be there, but it's not there once you get to know each other. It really isn't. So they need to come on. One other thing I would like to mention for your listeners, because a lot of people are not aware of it, we're pushing what we call Pay the Coast Guard Act. Because in 2019, when the government shut down, the Coast Guard didn't get paid for over 2 months. Well, a Coast Guardman that's out there that's got a wife and kids, they got to eat. They can't go flip hamburgers because they're 24/7. They raised their hand, they took an oath. And a lot of people don't understand that, but they're under Homeland Security, not DOD. The Department of Defense budget is there. They come under Homeland Security. However, during every major war, American presidents signed the assets of the Coast Guard to the U.S. Navy, and they played big parts in World War II over around the islands. So we need to pay them, regardless. The American Legion spent $1.2 million that year for E5s and below the head children, so they can keep their families together and still be able to serve our country. I just hope you got an interpreter so people can understand all those southern.
You got that Texas accent. That's great,
yeah.
Man. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, you know, it's a pleasure. I'm from this area. I live in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, this is the first time I'm home in 10 days. Well, it's not even home because I've got to go back to Harrisburg tomorrow morning. But, you know, it's close to home and a lot of friends here. Our biggest problem in Pennsylvania American Legion is not so much the benefits that we're chasing after and trying to get for our members and our young veterans, men and women both. The big thing is female veterans. There's not enough services for them. That's one. They don't have, well, Pittsburgh is fortunate. Let me put it that way. Pittsburgh's fortunate because Pittsburgh VA has a women's clinic. Other hospitals in Pennsylvania, VA hospitals, Lebanon, Philadelphia, they don't have clinics for females. And they have a very difficult time getting access to benefits and to medical care. And medical care is a big thing. You get medical care, if you qualify for medical care, then later on you can go for the benefits. But the other thing that is important to the American Legion, Pennsylvania American Legion, is the camaraderie that we have with each other. You know, I'm a paratrooper. He was a Marine. We can't stand each other. Let's put it that way. Some certain settings, of course, you know, but we'll call each other names. That's fine and dandy. We know how to do it. We can do it. But damn, don't attack him because we're going to be on his side too, you know. And the whole organization is like that. Hopefully, you know, some of the associations, we have association. Well, there's probably a home association here too, you know, and they butt heads all the time between them and the post. And if they know the Constitution and the bylaws are the rule. The convention is the rule. And a home association has to do what the post says. You know, they just can't say we're going to do this and we're going to make these and we're going to do that. No, you need permission to do all that. Some of our subordinate organizations, Legion Riders was one. Sons of the American Legion. If something happens to the post, those subordinate organizations are gone. You know, so we need to keep everybody together as a family, and the auxiliary has their own constitution, of course. So it's a little more difficulty trying to not control them. Absolutely not. Believe me, I don't want to control them, but it's a little bit more difficult to do a lot of things because of the auxiliary's constitution. Their constitution is different than ours, of course. We travel the state. I travel the state along with my wife, and you know, and the majority of the issues going on are what I had just said about home associations and post, and people in the American Legion itself, and they all are members of the American Legion. Rather than going to their post judge advocate, they go to the department's judge advocate. Well, the department's judge advocate is not to be representing them. He's there to represent the state, the organization of the state organization of the American Legion. You know, a post can handle it, and 99% of the times, if they would sit down at the table with each other, be civil about what they're talking, you can solve the problems. And that's the biggest issue. You know, the camaraderie that we have is fantastic. You know, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. I've been a member of the American Legion since I got out of service also. I'm fortunate. I was one of the fortunate ones. I did not go to Vietnam, although I got sent there 3 times. Never made it. So, you know, but it's a, I've been an officer in the American Legion from my post 5 in Pittsburgh, probably since 1977, 78, and it's progressed all the way up. You know, I was the vice commander, and I was a national sergeant at arms for Ron Conley when he was the national commander. Went to Europe with him and did things like that. And it is, I don't know how to explain it. You know, it's in my heart. You know, thanks to my dad. First of all, the young veterans who have families, especially a wife, children, small children, we understand that they cannot commit to being part of the American Legion on a full-time basis, only because their children come first, their wife, their employment, their education. And education is a good one, and the commander mentioned that about the GI Bill. You know, and I knew that, and this guy named Harry Comrie, who wrote wrote the GI Bill in an office down in Washington, D.C. in 1946. He wrote it out. And it passed in a few days. It didn't take long for them to pass that at all. The new GI Bill that they have, we worked on it not only as the Internal Affairs Commission of the American Legion, but as when I was working for Allegheny County as the Veterans Affairs guy, and when we got that new GI Bill, there was things in there missing that were on the old one. And right away, you get out there and let's get this corrected, and get it done before these guys lose that benefit. OJT was one. On-the-job training for firefighters, policemen, stuff like that there. Coal miners, anybody who had some kind of job that they would learn while they were working and still get paid by the VA to help support their families. The benefit of that, of course, is the financial benefit there. The other part of it is our programs. We just had an oratorical contest where a student from Washington County, as a matter of fact, down at Post 175, won $8,000 over an oratorical contest, and it's about our Constitution. These kids are fantastic. They would be the best educators whatsoever in their schools. If you had a student here, I don't know if you had a student here out of the 26th district, but if you had a student here, well, I know the 26th district did, but I mean, if they had a student here, take that student back to school and have the school have an assembly and let him explain or her explain to the rest of the students what we did, what I learned about the Constitution, what I learned about a little section of the Constitution. And that's part of that program. We had 5 students, this is the first time we had 5 students in the state finals, only because it was snafu in another part of the state, so we corrected that just to help this student along, And they went from $8,000, and the least expensive one was a $500 gift, only because they had to come to Harrisburg, and they had to. Well, the American Legion picked up the tab on that course, for mileage and for food and bedding, but it's a start, And there's other programs there. Keystone Boys Day is a program. State Police Youth Week is a program. That's a very difficult program for young men and women both, who from 15 years to 18 years old, can go and be taught by state police officers, by National Guard members, and by members of the American Legion how to do law enforcement and be part of law enforcement if they want to do that for a career. How can you get not? And you get credit for it. You get credit for it at your colleges. And they give you college credits for the oratorical contest, for the State Police Youth Week, and for the what else? Keystone Boys State. That's a fantastic problem. And if they see that Keystone Boys State on there, even to go to a service academy, that's extra credits. You get credits for that. And it's great. Absolutely.
Young individuals to search out the Legion.
Absolutely, and it don't happen overnight, believe me. I mean, like I said, I've been involved since 1975, where it was, and look, I'm here now, but I've been above myself already as far as positions in the American Legion, and I just roll with the punches and get it right. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask about benefits. Don't be afraid to ask about our organization. We're here. We're here to help you. Male, female, doesn't matter. You got a discharge, you're eligible. And that's all you had to do. Serve one day after December 7, 1941. Everybody now is eligible to be a member of the American Legion. And our National Guard and our reserve units, I don't know if you were or not, but I tell you, you cannot beat those units. We was with the general the other day, and of course we made presentations to him, and we found out some things with the Senate and the House on the Veterans Affairs Committee, which will be good for us, and it will be coming out after our DEC meeting in April through a resolution to the Senate and to the House of Pennsylvania to help Pennsylvania veterans along. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
System worth saving. That's I visited a VA hospital in every state, and I visited more than one VA hospital. There's 55 states in the American Legion, I visited 63 VA hospitals. And the program is called A System Worth Saving. And the system is the VA hospitals. And I felt it was worth saving the VA hospitals so that we have them in the future for veterans that are coming back from various wars. Well, one was they weren't getting the proper funding from Congress, and so therefore they weren't able to take care of all the things they needed to take care of in a VA hospital. And second of all, they ended up telling the directors, you got to do this. So they come up with a new program within the VA hospital, but they didn't give any money to fund it. But they put it on the VA directors to make sure that they had money to fund this program that the big shots in Washington, D.C. wanted taken care of. So it was kind of difficult for the directors of the VA hospitals to do that stuff, but we were able to get the VA through Congress to give them their funding a year ahead of time. Well, when I was a state commander, I was involved in the Homeless Veterans Program, and I ended up starting before I became the commander, where we ended up getting 4 homes in Pittsburgh, 4 homes in Moon Township, a home in Ephrata, a home in Harrisburg, and a home in Philadelphia, and we housed homeless veterans. Since that time, we've raised enough money where anybody that's in need of a grant from our homeless program, they can apply for it so that we can give them money to keep them from being homeless. Yes, the other thing that's a severe problem is suicide. There's right now about 20 veterans a day, and that seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but if you try to wrap your head around it, it's hard to imagine 20 veterans a day killing themselves. And that's what happens in this country today. 20 a day. Suicide is mainly because of the war, PTSD, TBI, and so I got the American Legion National Organization to support a program within the national organization, PTSD, TBI, suicide prevention. And so what we try to do is get the word out. We don't want to give anybody an impression that we're doctors. I don't want to give anybody the impression that we have the immediate fix for veterans that want to commit suicide. I want to let them know, and I want to let members of the American Legion know that they could be a big part in assisting veterans from committing suicide. And the first step is to be able to sit down and talk to them. Talking to somebody helps them in relieving what might be a problem in their mind to want to commit suicide. Veterans have an opportunity today to be engaged in their local community. Second of all, the American Legion supports a lot of children and youth programs. And so that your children have an opportunity to participate in our program, end up possibly winning a grant from the American Legion to help you in your college outlook. I just hope everybody understands that the veterans of this nation step forward and that they have contributed time and blood for the good of this nation. And so if a veteran is able, and then if he's willing, he needs to join the American Legion so that other veterans will have an opportunity, along with their families and their children, to access what the American Legion offers a community. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the opportunity to do that.
My pleasure.
I haven't done this since I was a national commander.